Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. It was an ordinary morning in a peaceful American town, and the sun illuminated the still quiet streets. Two police officers, known in the neighborhood for their arrogance and racial prejudice, were patrolling without any real mission. Their conversation, punctuated by mockery and inappropriate remarks about the town's black residents, reflected their narrow-mindedness. Suddenly, they spotted a black man walking confidently toward his car. Without even checking his identity or understanding the situation, they abruptly stopped him, grabbing him with excessive force and accusing him of imaginary crimes. The man, calm but indignant, tried to explain that they were mistaken, but the police officers wouldn't listen. What they didn't know was that the man they were humiliating in front of passers-by was a decorated and respected U.S. Army general, known for his courage and integrity. The passers-by's cameras recorded every moment, the abrupt gestures, the contemptuous words, and above all, the general's impressive composure in the face of this injustice. Within hours, the video had gone viral, first in the city, then across the country. The reactions were immediate: indignation, anger, and astonishment at the officer's audacity, but also admiration for the general's dignity. What was supposed to be a simple patrol turned into a national scandal, revealing not only latent racism but also the power of respect and courage in the face of injustice. After arresting the general, the two police officers were still convinced they were doing their duty. One of them, nervous, began checking the man's papers while the other called headquarters for backup. "Are you sure he matches the description?" asked the first one, frowning. "Well, he's black, he's here, that's enough," replied the other, arrogantly. But when the general calmly handed over his papers, the police officers' faces changed instantly. The papers revealed his full name and rank: General Marcus Daniels, a respected commander, hero of several overseas missions, and a well-known public figure throughout the country. Panic seized them. One tried to joke to hide his shame: "We might be mistaken." But it was too late. Passers-by, who had filmed the entire scene with their phones, had already begun sharing the video on social media. Within minutes, the video had gone viral. Comments poured in: indignation, anger, but also admiration for the general's dignity. General Daniels, for his part, remained calm, observing them with a mixture of disappointment and composure. He did not raise his voice, nor did he become angry, but his eyes conveyed all the authority and experience of a lifetime of service. The police officers, now aware of their monumental mistake, were bewildered. Their arrogance had been replaced by fear and shame. They knew this affair would cost them dearly, but they had no idea of the scale it would reach. A few hours after the incident, General Marcus Daniels was called to the station to clarify the situation. The two police officers, still shaken and blushing with shame, didn't know where to begin. "General, we thought," stammered one of them, unable to finish his sentence. Daniels, in a calm but firm tone, interrupted them: "What exactly did you think? That you could humiliate an innocent man simply because of the color of his skin? You know that this behavior is unacceptable, don't you?" Every word hit the police officers like a thunderbolt. Surveillance cameras and videos from bystanders already showed their actions, and the general knew the whole country would see their mistake. Meanwhile, social media exploded. Internet users debated indignation, anger, and massive support for the general. Journalists immediately contacted the police station for details, and the two officers realized they were now in the spotlight. Daniels didn't want to further humiliate the officers; he wanted justice to be served and for this lesson to be learned. "I'll let you reflect on your actions, but know this: the military taught me to defend honor and respect. Today, you have failed in these basic principles." Overwhelmed by shame and fear of the consequences, the police officers remained silent. They had underestimated the man they had arrested and, above all, the power of social media and the public. This confrontation marked a turning point. The story, which had begun as a local mistake, was now turning into a national scandal, showing that racism and arrogance never go unpunished, especially when faced with someone as upright and respected as General Daniels. The following day, the video of General Marcus Daniels' arrest made headlines across all national media outlets. Television channels, online newspapers, and social networks all shared the footage, two arrogant police officers arresting a respected general, filmed by passers-by. At the police station, the two officers were now under internal investigation. Their arrogance had given way to panic. Calls from their superiors were pouring in, and they realized that this mistake could ruin their careers. Meanwhile, General Daniels, true to his legendary composure, granted an exclusive interview. He spoke of dignity, justice, and respect, denouncing racism and the abuse of power without ever raising his voice. His measured yet powerful words resonated with everyone and touched millions of people. Social media erupted, hashtags in support of the general, petitions to sanction the police officers, and public debates on racism in law enforcement. Even political and military figures spoke out to condemn the incident and praise the general's composure. The police officers, for their part, had now become symbols of injustice and arrogance. Every move they made was scrutinized, and their daily lives turned into a media nightmare. The pressure mounted until they had to answer to a commission of inquiry, fearing severe sanctions, or even the loss of their jobs. In all this chaos, General Daniels remained calm. He knew that true power came not from anger or revenge, but from dignity and example. This scandal would not only mark his career, but also serve as a national lesson. Racism and injustice can be exposed, denounced, and rectified when truth and courage are involved. A few days after the incident, an official hearing was held to examine the conduct of the two police officers. The entire country was following the case, and tensions were running high. The officers, ashamed and fearful, tried to justify their actions, but every word they uttered seemed to implicate them further. General Marcus Daniels, invited to testify, entered the room calmly and authoritatively. He did not seek to publicly humiliate the police officers, but his mere presence commanded respect. When he spoke, he declared, "I am not here to avenge a personal humiliation, but to show that injustice, even when it seems minor, has consequences. Your actions have affected not only me, but also the community's trust in the police. It is time to rectify this." The judges and the public were struck by his composure and wisdom. The two police officers were found guilty of discrimination and abuse of authority, and they were suspended with the possibility of dismissal. Their once promising careers were shattered in a matter of hours. But the final turnaround wasn't just legal. General Daniels, in a magnanimous gesture, proposed mandatory training on diversity and cultural sensitivity for the police officers. Learn from this mistake. Turn it into a lesson. That's how we all move forward, he said. The video of his testimony, his measured words, and his exemplary attitude went viral, inspiring millions of people across the country. Social media was no longer just talking about the humiliation of the police officers, but about the dignity, justice, and courage of a man who had transformed a scandalous incident into a national lesson. On that day, the country learned an essential truth: arrogance and racism always end up confronting justice, but true strength lies in self-control and dignity in the face of injustice.